Okay.
Today, if we were to complete this, there is one last shloka, 20th verse. It's a beautiful one, actually, which says that what is dharma. So if somebody were to say, I am following Sanatana Dharma, it means that he is following all the 40 things what is indicated here. So let's see what happens. We we finished till 30. So we were to start from 31 to 35. समः शत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीत उष्ण सुख दुःखेषु समः संगविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दा स्तुतिः मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतः स्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः. So so we did 31 to 35 and 36 to 40. Now, unless we get an ability to cut out the 5 sense subject, this will be tough. Samaha shatrau cha mitre cha. That is, there is no friend and there is no enemy. It's just a being in the samsara who is rotating like me. So that person has come out of karma, so he or she will either have a pleasurable sensation or feelings or painful sensation and feeling. So there is no need for me to get excited when there is pleasurable sensation coming from that sense object, or getting a painful feeling when that sense object, what I am seeing or hearing or touching, is not of a good kind. And then only we can have this samaha shatrau cha mitre cha. It is same for both friend and a foe. It doesn't get involved because that is what pure consciousness does. It doesn't interact itself. So when we go to 13th chapter, in that one verse, Krishna explains about what is this being which is called as Kshetrajna and what is that Paramatma. So he gives a differentiation there. So when we go to 13th, I think we are already finished 13 1 year ago, but still we can do it and see what is our state or what is our level of understanding between the last year when we did the 13th chapter and now. So the objective here to reach samaha shatrau cha mitre cha, the prerequisite is that we should have had mastery over all the 5 sense objects, meaning we should have mastery over 5 senses. Otherwise this is not possible. And the next line, tataha mana apamanayoho, honor and dishonor, that comes due to objects. So sensitivity towards object creates mana, that is, it is mine or possession orientation, and apamana is insult. So when somebody does a honor to me using some of the object, so let's say somebody calls me on the stage and gives me something, and that object turns itself to be a poison, because now I am keeping it in my showcase and watching it all the time and adoring it. So that's a mana. Apamana is that I was supposed to get something and somebody else gets it, or there is a real insult done by someone whom you trusted that will never insult, and that insult has happened with various other people being there and watching it. So unless we are out of this sense object and senses not attached to those sense object, the 4 of them, that is mitra and shatru and mana apamana, are not going to be there, not going to work. So all the 4 of us, at least for half a day, if we can get, of observation we need to do between the sight and sound and taste and touch and smell, so that the mind gets rid of this attachment. So mind creates this.
Actually,
Yeah, go ahead.
the apamana is much more worse than not having food, right?
Yes.
The worst thing is apamana,
Yes.
Especially in the society.
Yes, that's correct.
And how to really get rid of that apamana
Is by watching it as just movement of the objects. So the prerequisite for all the four of them is to that we should have mastered the sense objects. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
See, apamana can happen in two ways. One is that when socially you are coming down due to any reason, and then people, when they talk anything, you think that it is apamana happening to you. Anything people talk, even neutral also, because you are so much distressed. And other thing is deliberately people try to pull you down. Even though you are right, people pull you down because of their position power, or because of their money power, because of anything, because they are popular. Now anything they talk, the other person will get that apamana. And then it's a mukhabanga, right? It is the worst thing. Is it just possible by disconnecting with this what you call your
Senses.
listening or even seeing, because it is beyond that. It is already there, deep rooted inside our chitta, because that chitta clearance is very much required there.
To clear that.
So one way people generally do is they disconnect from that person itself, but inside now it will be like that apamana. It's like that Mahabharata, Draupadi, what happened to her is apamana, and because of that whole Mahabharata happened. In anybody's life, this is something which will not go away so easily.
Correct. That is true. So the
Deep rooted. Yeah.
Yeah, it is deep rooted, but there is no other alternative other than cutting the sense objects with the senses. So even Shankara's, if we look at aparoksha anubhuti, titiksha is what we need to have, endurance. We need to endure that pain of getting into mana and apamana, because they both are poison. Mana is as much poison as apamana. The only thing which gets displayed is apamana, because that can be seen. That means that can be seen or heard or whatever it is. But mana is equivalent to apamana only. So this is what we, four of us, need to practice.
Yeah. I think your point is right. Manas. The moment somebody is appreciating you, you immediately become very close to that person.
Correct.
Think that he is with you.
Yes.
But actually, Ativinayam Durtaras Lakshanam, something, the people will be so close to you with this, so many ways, but with a lot of expectation, I think.
Correct. So actually what happens is, when there is apeksha is expected.
One question. Because you have a lot of mana, you feel like you are losing that mana, that's apamana happens.
Yes.
If you, for example, if you are a neutral person, somebody is, while walking, somebody is unnecessarily creating problem for you. And then when he talks, you don't get any apamana. Apamana happens with the known people only.
Correct. I can give one example which happened on 26th of January, when I had gone to my friend's home. He had called me for this Republic Day celebration of putting on the flag. In fact, I wanted to talk about that flag thing after this, of how dharma will change. Anyway, so we hoisted the flag and we had a good time. And in that, what happened is that his wife was taunting me. It was a casual taunt, but it was a taunt. So I was watching. I had never expected her to taunt. So I was watching myself. What is the pain it can bring? Because all the time she has been talking so nice, and suddenly I find her taunting. And added to that, my friend says that, look how even my wife is saying this to you, something like that. So all was in a joke, but still it was a taunting. So I was trying to observe. So if there is mana, that they keep on appreciating me every time I've gone to their home. I think from the last 8 years of association, I have never had an opportunity where they have taunted or anybody has said anything to me. There's a lot of praise of how I'm doing things and this and that, because they came to the touring and they enjoyed and they were very happy that a person in software is able to do something on tourism also. And when we went in 2018 to Ladakh, my partner was saying about how much I'm contributing to the society there and all of that. So they were very impressed. So there was a lot of appreciation. And on 26th of January, this taunt was a real out of blue experience. So I was just trying to watch with her tone and with her the way she was talking, how much time this thing is going to stay in my mind. Whether it goes away immediately, whether it's going to stick on for some minutes or hours or whatever. So as I was watching it, it took me, I think, more than 5 minutes. If I could really had a watch, I think that it was shown. But it took me around 4 to 5 minutes to let it go. But it had stuck because there was mana that they always appreciate. So now when this apamana happens, or with all his friends being there, and when this was spoken out, and in fact one of my close friends also was there, so, and he also added to that. So it's like, how do you take that, or how do you really either participate, or the easiest thing to do is to just walk away from the scene, meaning to say that just get disconnected, so don't talk to that person at all. That's what we normally end up doing because there is apamana. But what actually should be done is that you be normal the way it was. So I was chatting with her without having any emotional problem happening inside me. In fact, it was not happening. It happened for 5 minutes, but I was watching. Even with this much of practice every day, it took me 5 minutes to get out of that. Actually, what should happen is, it shouldn't take any time at all between what is happening either as mana and apamana. So this is a real thing which happened on 26th. So it was a good experience for me to watch myself, that even for a second if I don't watch, or even for a moment I don't watch, the old habit can take over. So it took me 5 minutes. Maybe in some other case it would have taken hours together or days together, I don't know, because it depends on how close I am with that person or that environment or that society or whatever it is. But then this apamana is the one, like you rightly said, it is even worse than not having food. But it took 5 minutes. So without cutting the sense object, that is the sight and sound and taste and touch and smell, in this particular case, the sight and the sound are the problem. So I should take sight as sight and sound as sound. Yeah, but
that is, I think, like Jesus Christ. If any such thing happens, then forgive him. Correct?
Yes, and that is the
Kshama is I think, the best medicine.
Yes.
But to give kshama, I should earn that kind of mental status, because it is not that easy. You will go to a stage of revenge only.
Yes. So that is by the reason initially when I was discussing about ahankara and kshama and nirmama, the reason why I asked all of you to evaluate was on that basis, because whether I am able to have the kshama for myself or kshama for the other person. So if I don't have kshama, that is, I don't forgive myself for hearing something like that, I will not be able to forgive somebody who has said that. So it becomes like an enmity. So next time when I meet that person, I will go with that impression. Whether that person remembers what he or she said is secondary, but it has made such a damage in my heart that whenever I see that individual, I remember what happened on 26th of January. And that is wrong, because I am taking something which is not at all required. It is just an event and it just goes away, it just passes away. So, and that Kshama Bhavana should be there. And that's the reason he starts initially itself. He says that Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam. So that is the first thing which will go. So out of 40, if one of this is broken, it will make Dvesha immediately arise. So all the thing attaches itself to Dvesha. So Ahimsa has to be practiced with all 5 sense objects. Then it works. And when, like you said, when Jesus was pulled over and he was only saying to God that please forgive them, they don't know anything what they are doing. So that's the mentality what one should get into. But it took me 5 minutes. So that means there is again a failure. Yeah.
But actually, my understanding is if you are able to manage this one part, apamana, rest will get automatically adjusted. Because here you have krodha, you have moha, matsarya, everything comes suddenly.
No, but that happens because of apeksha. So there would be expectation from my side also. So if the mana, apamana, both of them happens because there is an expectation. There is a deal of expectation which is always there. Whether subtle expectation or gross expectation, but it is there.
See, in the corporate world, you have 360-degree feedback, especially American companies. Not that much in Europe, but in India it is not there. But the 360-degree for Indians, they cannot digest that, because all good things are fine, but there are a lot of people will talk about negative things. It may not be true, but people will talk, and your next level will take it seriously. See, this is a feedback received, this is what it is. It's the biggest apamana.
Correct.
And then I have seen people going through the stress level. It's not because of overload of the work. The stress comes because of apamana. I think, see what we say that each and in the Indian way, each and every human being is really respectful. We respect for his age, education, knowledge, and everything. That's the reason that apamana is very less in Indianized way of thinking. But for Indian person in the US, that way. But for US person in the US, he then don't care.
Correct. He doesn't care because, see, the thing is between West way of working and East way of working. West way of working, they treat work as work. They don't take anything in personal. Because in the East way of working, especially in India, we take work as seriously as personal life. So that's a problem. So like in my previous company, when we were getting rid of around I think 800 employees were there in Seattle. So they were getting rid of many of them. And when I had been to Seattle, they didn't have any animosity towards the company. They just said that okay, we are going off, and they joined better company than what this company was trying to acquire, and they all left, except for one Chinese and 3 or 4 Indians. Everyone left. So, and then the paycheck was given on that same day, and all of that fun thing happened over there. So the animosity, they have frustration for losing job, but they don't have animosity because they don't really care. They don't really take it personally because for them the job involves what they are doing, and they don't care about the designation or title change and all that. Whereas in India, all this becomes a very important decision making, wherein I had one team member who quit the company because his fiance said that this company is not in this Forbes 500, and she wanted she was working for Accenture, and she wanted her would-be husband should be working in a most reputed company. So it was insulting for him. So he quit the job, and he was in QA, and he joined in Bosch. But she wanted him to work for an American company, and she didn't marry him. So he then got another alliance, and then that worked out. So these kind of things are weird, but happens in India because we are very attached to the work, and we are also attached to the personal life. Whereas in the West, they are attached to personal life, they are not that much attached to the work. So as long as things are working out for them in terms of whatever they can contribute, they're okay. But if the company changes their view and all that, and if there is people have to let go, and they don't really act weird like what most of the Indians would act. Maybe the way we have got upbringing is that way. I don't know, because this was the question which my CEO used to ask me: why do people behave like this in your country? Because if we are going to close a product, why do they make so much fuss about it? We are not asking them to go out of the organization. We are just saying that we cannot make this product anymore, so you have to move to either to a different product line, or you have to get out. That's all. Only two things. So why do they make so much of fuss? And for which I never had any answer. Why do we do in that way? Because we take, like in my team, around 65 people, out of that 48 people had taken the product so seriously in their life. Okay, so any change in technology and they are not considered, they feel insulted. So from Visual Fox Pro, if we were to make to .NET product, and then they are not there, or they're not there on cloud computing, at that time they used to feel very insulted. And
yeah, I think in India, attachment is very quick. Detachment is very tough.
Yes.
For them, it is like a natural life, and they don't connect that with their personal life.
Yes, like my ex-boss. I mean, he had a turbulent personal life, so he left that wife and married another one. So all those things are possible in US. They believe in themselves.
Yeah.
So they're very selfish people, but sometimes I find that that way of their living is seemingly appropriate because they don't take it too much to their heart. Whereas in India, everybody takes everything very close to their heart. Whether they are doing well, also they take too much to their heart. If they are not doing well, also they take it very close to their heart.
I think India's success is because the personal life and professional life they consider one. It's one life.
Yes.
Western is it's two lives. That's what the major difference.
Yes, that's correct. So I used to swipe at 8 o'clock in the office, and 5 o'clock we all are out of office. So we take the car and go wherever you want to go, or go to a friend's place, or go to your home or room or wherever it is. So I never had anything other than 8 to 5. Whereas when I was here, I had to really struggle to ask people to leave at 6 or 7, even though there is no work as such. They hang around. So it's a different kind of culture here, and that's the reason mana and apamana would be highest. Because I'm trying to show to my boss that I'm doing many things which might not be required at all from the company's angle.
Correct. Can I say like this? See, two extremes. One is Japanese culture. Unless your manager is going home, you cannot even go home.
Correct.
It is 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock night. Western is totally different. The moment your work is over, you can go home. You don't have to care because manager is playing his role. That means the culture difference is huge. Both are not right with respect to whatever we have learned now. It should be somewhere in between. Maybe around European culture, maybe slightly better, right?
Yes, European culture, especially German culture, is better than any other culture what I've seen, because they have some ethical way of doing rather than any other country I've seen or have interacted with. Meaning
Yeah,
to say
correct.
that,
European.
yeah, I don't know. I think
That's the reason I have seen in some surveys. Always Europe comes like a top for valuing people and also people enjoying their life overall.
yes.
We are stressed and Western people also stressed.
See, thing is like this. The Japanese culture is, again, it's an Asian culture of staying back. Even in China, I had a team member of Chinese, and then he used to work for 22 hours after 24 hours. So only 2 hours he used to go to sleep. Otherwise, he is always there. So if I were to message him in the night, he just say, ah, yeah, tell me what do you want. So then we used to chat. So he never was doing anything. Whereas once this globalization started from 2007 onwards, wherein the product development started to move into India and China, so then the Western people used to be available for more than that time, meaning instead of going home at 5 o'clock, they go home, but then they are available for meetings for another 2 3 hours. But at the end of the call, they don't take it too personally. Whereas in our case, it's always a personal. So once I say something and that person would say that this is not acceptable, and then I have to give him explanation why this is good or bad or whatever. That I don't find in West. They say what they want to say and then that's it. So they don't really bother. Anyway, so that is cultural, and that is, even they have mana and apamana. They have one way of looking at it, we have another way of looking at it, but the basic thing is that the Asian people, irrespective of whether it's India or not, are more attached to what they do rather than the West, like in the US and Canada. Whereas Europeans try to figure out what they want their personal life as much as their professional life. So they try to balance things out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So even they have a problem, but not to an extent like what we have. We are also population heavy. So if somebody doesn't do, and then there is somebody, sorry, if I am not willing to do something, there would be 100 people who would willing to do that. So in that way, I need to do something which others, to ensure that I don't lose the my edge over it. So I have to do something more than what others can do. So that is how we are, because of the amount of population. So both India and China and other Asian countries struggle out of the population explosion. So there would be this.
So from meditation point of view, when the mana comes, somebody appreciating you because of your contribution, don't take it that it is your contribution. It has just happened because of that the power what you have inside Aham Brahmasmi. It is not yours, mind wise.
Correct.
So then there is no question of apamana, right?
Apamana.
That is called the meditation.
Correct. So even
because you have not gained anything to lose.
Exactly. So if the moment I gain something, there is going to be loss. So
yes.
That is a whole problem.
Gain is welcome, loss is not welcome.
So we always want one way. And the next the line itself, he says, Shita Ushna Sukha Dukha.
Now, can I do, my question is a meditation technique now. We just analyze the world people because they are interacting with all these people. So, while doing a meditation in the morning, mana apamana meditation, is it appropriate to just look at where all, that day you got the mana and say that it is not my mana, just remove it from your chitta?
No, the easy.
See, I am.
I understood, but the easy way to do, instead of looking at how much mana I got and all that, you just make every action what has been done to na mama. Whether it is a good action or bad action, it doesn't matter. It is an action, so you just make it as na mama, and then it works.
So if you have not gained anything, there is nothing to lose.
Yes, the gain itself is a loss.
Correct.
If there is something to gain, so if there is a relationship to be gained, let us say 4 of us are there, and we have been associated for last 2 and almost 3 years now. This June will be 3 years. So let's say we are together for 3 years. There is an attachment. There is a relationship. So there is an attachment. So the moment there is an attachment, in terms of feeling that we are close or we are this and that, that itself creates the condition for apamana to happen sometime, because there's gain. So I've gained all of you. So eventually, if you or Padmashri or Lata were to apprehend me and talk something, and that might not be good to listen from three of you or one of you or whatever it is, depending upon the situation and the condition of it, it will seem like insulting, whether it's officially or unofficially, personally, whatever it is. It would seem, because they have gained something, and losing that what is gained is very difficult. Whereas all the four of us are trying to figure out how to find peace. It's not my peace, it is just what is there. So I'm only interpreting or explaining about what I am trying to do and whether it makes appropriate for you. In that way, I am not attaching anything to the relationship. So there is nothing to be gained for me. So in case if we four don't meet up, let's say after 1 or 2 years we are not meeting up at all, that shouldn't cause a mental trauma to me. That, oh, at that time we were doing so much, now we are not meeting, let's say, like on that day, Padmashri was asking me about why you should take feedback and all that, right? It's like, if I have an attachment, it's going to be very torturous, because number one, I won't expect her to ask this question. Number two is that I don't know how to answer her question. And number three is that even if I were to answer her and it's her perception, her way of taking it, whether she accepts to it or not, I don't know. But if she doesn't accept to it, that means I have to convince her to accept it. If she doesn't accept to it, and then it becomes a real challenge, because the other two, that is you and Lata, might feel that, oh, he couldn't answer. This is my assumption. So basically, since I have mentally gained something, losing is very difficult. But if I take question as a question, I do my best to answer to it, it need not be convincing, because the work I have to do, it's not about whether it has to be done by three of you. We are just sharing things here, but the actual work, whatever we want to do to find peace, we have to do it ourselves. We are only trying to guide each other in such a way that the path is known and we are walking, and in case there is a difficulty faced, a challenge faced, we are explaining to each other, oh, I am facing this problem, have you also encountered this problem, and if it is, how are you solving it? So we are not personalizing. As long as we don't personalize, we will not have any problem at all. So the meditation should be on cutting out the five sense objects from the five senses. So if not Padmashri asking this question, whatever she asked, this wouldn't have got triggered. Actually, I felt so happy on that day, on Friday when she asked. Felt so nice, because that has to be there. If there is literally, like, I keep on explaining and you keep on hearing or whatever it is, that is not good, because that doesn't show up the dirt which I have myself, which I have to clean it myself. It's not that any one of you can clear up my mess. I have to clear my own mess. At least the mess comes out. Like my friend's wife, she taunted. It is very nice. I felt so happy that somebody taunted. Oh, very nice. So let's see what happens. So what I found eventually in this whole path is that everyone is a teacher. Whomever I meet, they can pose challenges. It is up to me to see how do I take care of the challenge. Rather than blaming them, I am taking it as an opportunity to see that whether I am falling in the pit or not. If I am falling in the pit, okay, I am falling in the pit, accept it. So let's see what can be done. So how these five sense objects are able to still mature themselves into the product and then hit me where it shouldn't.
Yeah, I think what you are talking is when you practice that, everybody in front of me is something like teacher. because they are giving an opportunity to test our spiritual endurance. So in this case, the ego part will be zero.
Yes, that's correct.
Because you are not telling that aham means it is my body or my mind. There aham is only Brahmasmi. Because ego is not there.
Right. So if I am failing,
I think that is a that's a very good practice in day-to-day life. Because meditation is closing eyes and doing all that, but this is the real-time meditation. When you are interacting with anybody, it's like you are a very innocent person in front of other person, and you respect that person, and there is no other transaction either. What you call mana apamana related. You are not praising him, or you are not doing any negative energy. You are not injecting to that other person. It is always you are working in a neutral way. That neutrality is nothing but for other person. It's a power coming out of you.
correct. So if I
You are like a murti in a temple. You know, if you follow that, you are like exactly like a murti of temple.
no, that is what we all need to get into. It's not about we shouldn't interact with the world at all, like what I was talking about yesterday also. We need to do what we are supposed to do, but actually we are not here to do that. We are here to get rid of the repetitive process, because the next life also will be the same repetition as what we are right now. So there is no point in doing the same repetition and getting lost. Instead, can we really escape from here? That is the
other point is here. We are playing role. Yesterday somebody was telling, morning till evening we are playing 4 roles. One is a Brahmin while studying, another is protecting ourselves, Kshatriya, and another thing is you are a transaction world, you are there, you are Vaishya, and then finally you are doing service of somebody, that is Shudra. Or for all 4 roles we are playing everybody everyday basis.
correct.
So when you are doing this, we are in the transaction world. Means Brahmin time it's okay, you are studying and doing something, there is no other transaction. But the moment you are doing a transaction world, the Vaishya related work or something, that time you have to use the dharma to the highest possible level, because you are guided. If you don't follow the dharma, you will get into a trap of all this mana, apamana and all that, because you are taking it everything personally.
Yes.
So that is the reason the corporate, what you call these values and all that will be in picture. If I am a manager, I should know how to hire and fire also.
Yes.
If I don't know that, then I am not doing my job.
Yes.
To do hire and fire, you have to exchange a few words with the people.
Yes.
And while exchanging, you cannot do apamana to that person, because you are not doing anything apamana to that person. You are just telling you have not played the role. That is the reason this role will not fit to you, so I am disconnecting.
Correct. Absolutely. And the same thing holds good.
Same thing doing our PDA cycle also. We are not supposed to do any apamana to other person.
That is right. The same thing if it is practiced with wife and husband and daughter and son and mother and father, that's all what is required. It's all about the role we are playing. So every being in the samsara is playing the role. There is no other thing than the role. So we do.
Yeah, see, the thing is, if you disconnect from this 5 or what you call indriyas, then you are not doing any transaction. That means you are in the puja rooms, close your eyes. But when you come to the transaction world, because you are using all those panchendriyas, you are using both.
No, you are using the panchendriyas. The indriyas are going to be there, but we don't have to get sensitized or worried about the sense object which comes to the sense door. So if we can disconnect the sense object from the sense door, like as a very simple example I can give is like the flag. Okay, now flag is, there is no flag there. It is just a cloth with some color. It's just a symbolization. So now I can take this as a symbol and leave it, or I can take it too personally and make it like I am proud to be in this country. So I can go to this extreme view that I love this country, or I don't like this country. This another view. So raga dvesha starts working with the flag itself, because my mind feels proud or my mind feels worked up by that flag. So let's say I love America. So I have kept flag of America in my home. And I would like to put outside, just like in the US, they put the flag outside their home. So I bring the American flag and then I tie it to the apartment and then I fly. I put that flag. What I'm trying to show is that I belong to America. Then some people will question me, if you are belonging to America, why are you staying in India? For which I don't have any answer. So I curse myself for being in India because I've taken that flag to be too personal, too serious, and the thing I need to be. Or another way around, I love India, so now I put on the India flag on my terrace, and then I keep on adoring that and investing time in finding out about the flag and how good it would be and this and that. So then I am getting stuck with the samsara because it is going to bring in this mana and apamana and also the hatredness and the pleasure feeling. So sukha dukkha is going to be there the moment I have a flag in the mind, because either it is going to bring me sukha, that means if 100 people were to appreciate India the way I think they are appreciating India, then there is sukha feeling. And if they are not doing that and depreciating it, not knowing what it is, as per me, they don't know what they are talking. So I try to correct them and then they don't seem to be in any way correctable. So I don't like it. So I feel that they are hating India. So this perception, what I carry just by the flag, can be torturous. But basically speaking, when I really see the flag, am I seeing the flag? The flag consists of some color and a cloth. So if I am knowing this, a cloth and a color, it's just for making a symbol, not really there, then it becomes very easy. If somebody blames India, also I don't get worried up or worked up. I'll try to give him some information which will change his perception, but I'm not going to bother about why he is not accepting to it. If somebody is appreciating India, then I'm not going to say that, oh, it's so nice, even I do that or whatever, or I try to build in negativity about India. So I will not do both. And if I can stay in that balanced way, then neither I can make any friends out of it or foe out of it. Flag can make a friend and flag can make a foe. So on 26th of January, I was watching this also. How emotional we can get into just by the flag. So all of this adds to not being in Brahman. So it attaches itself into samsara. And when we sleep in the night, there is no flag, there is no country, there is no money, there is no relationship, there is nothing there. It is just sleep, deep sleep. Nobody knows who himself is. And that's the reality happening every day. So if we can do that, if we can watch it and develop the mind to be focused on the consciousness instead of focused on the sense objects, which it does all the time, then the peace is definite. So whether it is in office or here or there, the mana and apamana, the na mama, if we can practice it, like the flag is mine, I am belonging to this country and all that, I am feeling very proud and all of, so there is mana. And I'm not feeling good about it because these people are harming our nation and all that. So I'm feeling apamana. It's insulting to me. So all of these are perceptions which can be removed, which has to be worked up and removed. Rather than closing eyes and meditating, we need to watch over what is happening in our mind and then take it out. Okay. Any comments? I think Lata and Padmashri are totally silent.
Yeah, listening. It's an interesting discussion about mana and apapana. And yeah, but it is anyway a summary of what all you have discussed. When the main part is to cut the sense and the sense objects, and then this I and mind will go away.
Yes.
And then I and mind is gone away, then there is no question of mana and apamana.
Absolutely. So the only way to do it is to cut the sense object from the senses. There is no other way at all. And
so that's the root. That is a root.
That's
From there only we should start.
Yes. And even the Shama and Dama is all about that. Okay, if that happens, then Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkeshu, I think we have spoken about it. So we'll neither feel cold nor we feel hot when in conversation with somebody or some event happening, because the sense objects are cut from the senses. Sukha, Dukkeshu, in pleasure and pain. Samaha, Sangha, Vivarjitaha. So is same irrespective of whichever condition it is. It is neither cold nor hot, or neither sukha and dukkha, and there is no attachment. Sangha vivarjitaha. Tulya nindaha stutihi mauni. So ninda is a person is been criticized or been said something which he doesn't like on his face. Stutihi is to praise, like a mantra, but he remains silent for both, because the both are just sound, and that's the reason he stays silent. So he doesn't value both of them. Tulya is to measure, so he doesn't measure because he is silent. He remains silent in both because they are only sound which passes away. Santushtaha yena kenachit, is content with whatever is coming at that sense door at that point in time. He is not bothered about what came earlier or what's going to come in the future. He is happy with what is coming to the sense door at this point. Aniketaha stiramatihi, he doesn't like to stay at home, meaning he doesn't want to get established into possessions. That is what the meaning of Niketa is, to have household duties and household possessions like wife and son and husband and all of that, or any kind of relationship is creates the house. And once there is a home, then attachment is 100%. So aniketaha stiramatihi, so his mind is established correctly, not in the samsara but outside the samsara. Bhaktiman me priyo naraha. So that man, that person who is full of devotion to the consciousness is very dear to me. So the last shloka in that tells what is dharma and what is not. Yetu dharmya amritam idam yata uktam paryupasate shraddha dhana mat parama bhaktaha te ativa me priyaha. This is immortal dharma because it makes the person to move from samsara to out of samsara, so there is no rebirth, because he has mimicked or she has mimicked the consciousness. It's literally the pure consciousness instead of this temporary consciousness as in directed consciousness of the mind. Now this is pure consciousness, so hence it becomes immortal. Yataha, because of that, uktam paryupasate, one who follows as described above, all the 40 of them. Shraddha, when has faith. Dhana, that is, he is endowed or he gains. Mat parama, me as the supreme, than any other material objects he has considered. Bhaktaha te ativa me priyaha. Such devotees are exceedingly dear to me because he is pure consciousness. So the consciousness has been waiting for a long time for this mind to get rid of its own self identity. With this 40 of them, the self identity goes away and it merges with Paramatma. With that, our journey into 12th chapter also ends. So what we need to practice is all the 40 of them. Questions, comments, concerns?
We had good discussion.
Okay. Fine. If we don't have anything, then we can end the call and start tomorrow from 13th chapter.
Thank you.
Yeah, fine, Vilas. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Then.
you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.